got the Texans Fan Better Podcast.
Young Bridge, Fifth Ward Crenshaw.
You know the best out there.
Keno, Bo Diggity 713.
To all my Texans Nation. If you feeling good, I want you to throw them H's up high. Yeah, like that. I see you. Let's swarm. Yeah, Houston, Texas, born and raised. Yeah, that's where I'm from. The best city in the state. Yeah, we stay turned up. There's excitement in the air for the Houston Texans.
Yes, sir.
We swarming all year, causing havoc, we wrecking. Coming off that edge, we got 5-5-5-1. Thing on the outside, locking down your number one. All about the swarm mentality. And the H, standing on business is the way we operate. I rep that 7 like CJ, that 1 like Diggs, that 3 like Dell. H-time we doing it big, you know that 12 out here, and don't you never forget, better pick your poison, cause we got Joe in the midst. We rock that battle red, still blue, Liberty white, H-time blue, drip galore, man, we so fresh, fire like the field. Shout out to the whole squad, chasing greatness, eyes on the prize, one goal, it's time to take it.
Let's get it.
Throw them H's up, throw them H's up, now you throw them H's up, throw them H's up, we throw them H's up, throw them H's up, let's show love for them Texans, cause them Bulls about to perform. Throw them H's up, throw them H's up, now you throw them H's up, throw them H's up, we throw them H's up, throw them H's up, let's show love for them Texans, cause them Bulls.
Yeah, your video is excellent now. You, can you hear me? But your video is excellent. It's just the audio. I don't know. Can you hear me?
How about now?
Oh, yep. There you go. Okay.
All right. Well, again, this would not be a Texans podcast without a mess up on our end. Sorry for technical difficulties. I'm your host today, Matthew Briggs.
I'm Jason Colston.
Yeah, again, this is like the 8th time, but we're going to keep going. Guys, a couple weeks ago, he had me on his podcast, We Won Houston podcast. Had so much fun. Had to bring him in. I got Mr. Clayton Anderson from Toro Times. Clayton, how's it going, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. Hey, listen, look, we made it, right? We look, like you said, man, we live. It's fine, bro. It happens. we still swarming. So we are, man. Good to see you both. And yeah, man, let's talk some ball, man.
We kind of talked about, but I don't think nobody heard us, so we'll go on again. We'll talk about this Chargers preseason game. And Clayton, I'll start with you. What was your takes on this game? What caught your eye?
Sure. So look, man. Look, football is back in Houston, right? That was the first thing I thought. You could tell by the way the traffic was so terrible. The city was alive, electric, right? So we were all just happy to be there. I was in the building, and yeah, man. So I got in a little bit after Jared Wayne had made his play, but no, man, what stood out to me immediately was just bits and pieces of players, right? Like Keelan Rutledge, he held up pretty well, got a hold of the all 22 film, so he did a good job. Marlon Klein, of course, the longest play of the game, 31-yarder by Davis Mills, good pocket, by the way. And Marlon Klein with a little bit of attitude on the end to let you know about it, like, hey, yeah, I did that to you, right? Of course, I mentioned Jared Wayne and just him really stamping what he's been doing in training camp. I like to see him climbing up on the DB and just coming down with it. Excuse me, you're too small. Kamari Ramsey, he should have had a pick six, but he didn't. He made up for it, though, with an interception. And, of course, Noah Whittington was a last-minute addition to my list. He was a guy, tough runs in between the tackles, aggressive. I've always said, writing about Noah Whittington, like him as a scheme fit, power guy, low center of gravity, just a ball of muscle. And I want to say he led all rushers with 40 yards, I believe. Yeah. So anyway, those are my immediate takeaways from the game. Like I said, we didn't win. We got beat by 20, but a lot of positivity for those guys.
And I said this on our practice. We'll call it our practice run. Me and Jason kind of believe the same thing. You really can't read into a lot of preseason, right? Like it's mostly for these depth guys to get some reps, the position battles. So everybody that's like, "Oh, we lost to your Chargers," calm down. This is a meaningless game. But Jason, take it away, man.
So the first drive is what you wanted to see. You wanted to see Davis Mills operate the offense, get the ball out of his hand. Like you pointed out, the Marlon Klein play was a big time play. They drove down, they scored. That's really what you wanted to see from the offensive line. Um, the rest of the game, you had bits and pieces of guys who are on the bubble who need to stand out. They need to they play the running back there. I thought you look at the yards per carry, it wasn't a bad night running the football. Um, and Jared Wayne made that nice catch as well. So
Yeah, Randy Moss 2.0.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. You do like what you see in Davis Mills. One thing as a backup, he's a backup. A lot of the throws that he did, he made some good throws, but there were some questionable throws that could have been interceptions that weren't caught. One went out of bounds, so you can kind of, you know, say, "Oh man, this is why you're not a starter." So the Davis Mills guys, y'all gotta pump the brakes. But go ahead.
Well, he missed that guy. I don't remember who it was, but somebody was wide open, and he threw it to the underneath guy. Could have had a big play had he thrown it over the top to the guy that was wide open. But look, Davis is what he is. Um, he is a very good backup.
Top five,
If
maybe
if
the best.
if CJ goes down, you got a guy who can step in and still win some games for you. But I don't think that there's any quarterback controversy
Should be.
here. No.
Should be. But yeah, you gotta give him. He threw the touchdown, but Jared Wayne, he deserves about 98% of that touchdown. He went up there and made a big body. He boxed him out, jumped, and made a heck of a catch. The positive on my side is the young bucks. Like honestly, I know I'm jumping ahead of myself. It's preseason. I just said it really doesn't matter. But the things I've been seeing from camp and some of this preseason game, this has the potential to be the best draft class we've seen since the CJ Stroud draft class. Like Marlon Klein made some plays. Like Clayton said, Kamari Ramsey made some plays. The undrafted free agent, I ran the ball decent. Rutledge got a pancake. He looks like the center that we've been wanting. We'll talk more about what's going on with him, but also McDonald. He's the big guy that you want up the middle. Got 2 tackles, one for loss. These young guys are making plays, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the hype from the young men, the young bucks, because that's what good teams do, right? They draft players for the ones that are leaving. We can't keep them all, so you got to keep just like Kansas City, just like Baltimore, like Philly. You got to kind of sprinkle them, and so far,
And we're talking about you as far as drafting is concerned. What I like to see, I expect you to hit on the first round pick. I expect you to hit pretty good on the second round. But hey, we're doing pretty good with sixth and seventh round guys that are being picked up by this team and making this team. I mean, if you're making the team on defense and you're a sixth round pick and you're making the team on the best defense in football, pretty good move.
Clayton, got any add to me and Jason's takes on the preseason game?
Do I have anything else to add? I mean, honestly, I want to piggyback off your point about, the Texans doing a good job with those later round picks. There's a guy in particular, Lewis Bond, right? Oh man, he should have made my list. But yeah, Lewis Bond, another example, right? Look, that man is not a 6 rounder to me. I don't care what anybody says. It's his accolades, right? The fact he came from Boston College, he left the college as the all-time leading receptions leader, right? So that's always great. He was coached by Bill O'Brien, who runs a variation of the EMP system that Nick Haley runs, right? So he's already coming in with a lot of the language that you want. So that kind of already, for me, puts him eye to eye with guys like Jalen Noel and, Xavier, well, not Xavier Hutchinson, not anymore, but, Jalen Noel at least where, then you got Steve Smith on his show, basically like gushing about Lewis Bond and the fact that he thinks not only could it be wide receiver 6, but wide receiver 4 or 5, right? So that's Steve Smith saying that. So, the Texans are doing a great job. And then also another one, Aiden Fisher, right? He was our 7th rounder who I forgot who it was. Either it was Sean Pendergast or Seth Payne, one of those two, or somebody who mentioned like leaving the game against the Chargers that, or at least right now, Aiden looks the most ready out of him and Wade Woodaz, right? Your guy who you got in the 4th, 5th round. So, that's saying something when your guys in the bottom, on the back end of your draft pool look better than a lot of guys you got mid-round or even that are on the roster already. So, put the feather in the cap to Nick Caserio, give him credit for finding those guys who could realistically challenge for reps. And yeah, man, I'm excited to see what the follow-up is going to be with better quarterbacking with, who was it, the Raiders, like a lesser team. So, who knows, man? Who knows how many reps you see, how many drives you see, but I'm excited to see what guys like Jared Wayne and the like, how they kind of parlay what they did against the Chargers and in training camp even today, and what they make out of it.
Also, I'm gonna murder his name, so I'm not even gonna try it. But the guard from Oklahoma, he had
Fabechi.
Yes, he had a real good game too. No pressures allowed. He didn't have no pancakes, but that's what. And look, the offense total. I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, but they had like 118 yards and a 4.9 yards per carry rushing. Like that's something you want to see. And again, I know it's preseason. I know you're not playing the number one guys, but that's still something. D'Amico Ryan said we have not had a good rushing offense since he's been here. So that's just if we can get just a sample size of that, that's something to look forward to.
Well, and then the word out of the camp today was that they ran the ball really well today.
Yeah, and you're going against the number one guy. So
Yeah.
well, let's talk about it. Joint practices. We played the Raiders. We played them Thursday. Unlike you kind of mentioned, the quarterback play. The Chargers know who their number one guy is. It's Justin Herbert. I think he's a little overrated, but that's for another show. Um, but this is what's going to help the Texans out on defense, right? They're going to try because Kirk Cousins and Mendoza, they're fighting for that number one spot. So they're going to go out there and try. So you're going to play both guys for a decent period. So this is your chance to actually prove what you got on this defense. But talk about the joint practice. Let's start on the offense. Like you said, they moved the ball pretty good from Jonathan Alexander. Shout out to him. If you have not checked out his articles, make sure you do. Writes perfect pieces. He said C.J. Stroud looked amazing until that last interception. He only had one bad throw, and it was that interception. So that's something you got to piggyback. Jason, I'll start with you.
Well, they talked about the run game, really, that the run game moved the ball very well. As far as I heard guys on 610 talking about CJ, that on that pick that he got aggressive and made an aggressive throw. I think that's what you want in camp. Is I want my quarterback to go out there and make some throws that maybe he wouldn't make in the game. Maybe he would have went a different way, but it is nice to finally hear that the offense is moving the ball. And I think a lot of that has to do with every day they're going up against the best defense in the NFL. And I was hearing them talk about, when they're going up against our defense, they're having to work extremely hard to get anything going. And then today against the Raiders, that's what I heard was they were just moving the ball up and down the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on both sides, right? Clayton, what you got?
Right. So today starting with the offense. Yeah, man. And credit to Texans commenter John Alexander. Credit Big Sarge. Credit all the media outlets that helped me out while I was, at work today. Shout out to those guys. So yeah, man. No, starting on the ground. I mean, I think they had their best ground game of the training camp period. And I think they mentioned that David Montgomery, I think he said he needed a day like this. And fellas, I'm gonna say this. Man, I guess it matters when you are not facing the best defense of the last probably 10 years, right? So, man, who knew? What a concept, right? That the minute you stop having to go against Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, oh, you can pop a run or two. Man, that's amazing, right? And look, I say that tongue in cheek, but no, seriously, like I was relieved today, kind of a little bit, because I know last year, we kind of said the same thing, right? Where we were like, okay, you know what? Hey, the defense is just great, but the offense is probably going to be awesome in the regular season, and it wasn't. But now this time, like you've seen this offense have its best day the minute it stops playing against this defense. And not just that, but even before that, right? They were throwing haymakers back and forth at the defense as much as they could against a unit up there with the Legion of Booms and the no-fly zones and whatnot. So just putting that to the side for a second. But no, the rushing attack had its best, practice so far. And heck, you can even flip that as evidence, right? Like Sam Warren, I want to say of The Athletic, who covers the Raiders, he said that it was bleak when it came to running the football for the Raiders today. So again, it kind of feeds back into my point about rushing the football. That was the defense that we were going against, right? That's partly why Montgomery could not do what he wanted to do. That's why he said, I needed a moment like this so that I can kind of like, dang, they beat me up so much. I need to whoop somebody. So, and he did it. So in the minute right there, and shout out Woody Marks. He had a good day, couple touchdowns, right? I saw the one where Stroud picked up the ball off the turf from a bad snap and still lobbed it up there to Woody to complete it. There's that. And you mentioned the interception, I think you said, to Quay Walker, linebacker. I mean, look, no, you don't want interceptions, right? Especially at the end of a pristine day like that. But I interpret that as like, listen, it's last series. You kind of just mess around, or, you're not really that concerned about it. He gets the interception. I think the defender was happier about the interception than anybody really cared about. I think more was made of the fact that he flipped off the fans than, what he actually did. So, but no, man, look, it was good to hear CJ Stroud being pristine. I saw that there was a stretch. He went 5 for 5 in series team drills, hitting Nico and, oh my goodness, I know Nico for sure, but like multiple double digit, chunk plays to multiple guys. So, which was good. So again, that's how the offense can look when you're not facing one of a truly generational defense. No disrespect to Max Crosby, but I don't want to get too far ahead. But those were the good things. Like one of the concerns I had off of that at the same time was the fact that, and Jacob Barzilla said this, the offensive line is still a work in progress, right? Like, and I get it. You got Max Crosby that you're lining up against, but that's one of those things from the Chargers game that, if you look at the all 22, it's the same issue. Too many things kind of happening. Offensive linemen, especially in your interior, getting blown off the line of scrimmage and really struggling to hold serve. So, I'm going to be keeping an eye on that, against the Raiders. Like, how does this line hold up, right? Like, how much time are they really going to give, Stroud, and how many holes are they going to open up in the run game? But again, a lot of great things about today. I'm relieved. I'm happy that they made some progress. So, hopefully they can keep this gravy train rolling.
Well, that was like the biggest concern, right? Like everybody's like, oh man, the offensive line, especially in the run, can't hold the defense. Like the offensive line is struggling when it comes to the run on the defense. The defense, Montgomery's not getting it going. Marks is not getting it going. Like, what are we doing? Well, now there's evidence. Well, there's a reason why they're not getting it going, right? You're playing the number one defense. Like the concern, and that's why I keep trying to say, don't look too much into training camp. They're getting stopped because of the best defense in the league, just like CJ Stroud.
Well, and the defense knows
What?
the Texans offense.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
I think if we're not careful, we can go too far
rabbit hole, right?
with what's going on in training camp. But look, there's some. I mean, you got to love the fight in Rutledge. You heard that he went after Max Crosby. I mean, he's got to be able to play at the end of the day. But I like the attitude,
the intensity,
and the intensity. If he can play, that's even better. Obviously, he looks like he can, and I hope he can.
Yeah.
But they definitely have to protect CJ and open up some holes in the run game. We didn't have a run game last year.
Well, that's what I was about to say. My next point is, look, CJ Stroud looked good, and look what he had. He had a run game that was actually moving the ball. So now that you open the lanes of the rushing game, it gives CJ Stroud other options and safety. They're not having to stack the box and take pressure off of the line to come and attack CJ. So now he has some room to actually make some plays. And again, I'm agreeing with you guys. I think it was DJ Benenemy where he said, I think it was like they're up 17-0, or 17-7 or something like that when he threw the interception. Okay, that's where you want your quarterback to make. If you're up, that's where you want him to be aggressive, right? In the game, or no matter what, that's where you want him. If you think you make the play, go for it. I want Michael. Look, I don't want my quarterback to be the guy that sits and double guess himself. Like I can't turn over the ball. No, I want my quarterback. One or two picks is okay.
Well,
you can make a mistake. That's how you win the game.
Well, like we said last week, I don't want my quarterback with the mentality of being told, and this is what I'm fearful of with a defensive-minded coach. I don't want him being told, "Don't lose the game for us." No, that's a terrible idea to train your quarterback. I want to let the reins go. Now, obviously, CJ's got to take care of the ball. And what I would say to fans who are so concerned about CJ, I think you're looking at 2 games in the playoffs. And yeah, they were awful. They were terrible. But this guy's career has not been a career of a guy who turns the ball over a ton. So I think we're so concerned about something that I don't think we need to be that concerned about.
What have you done for me now lately, League? You know what I mean? So
yeah. I get it, but I think it's just 2 games.
Yeah, and like y'all said, look, Rutledge, that's what I want in the quarterback. In the offensive line. I've been saying it year after year since CJ Stroud's rookie year. I want linemen that's going to protect CJ, not just when he's behind him, but if he gets hit late, if he gets hit out of bounds, I want somebody to go in there and I want them to put their nose in the dirt. Like I want them to attack the other team if they did their quarterback. We have not seen that in the last couple of years. I think we have. I think we have that in Rutledge. I think that's Rutledge is that dog. I mean, he picked a fight with Will Anderson. He's picked a fight with Aziz Al here. Two guys that are probably the most scariest guys in the whole NFL. And then you pick a fight with Max Crosby, the third most scariest guy in the NFL. Like the dude has some cojones on him. Like he does not care.
Yeah, again,
and that's what you need.
Again, ultimately, he's got to be able to play.
Yeah.
But I like what I'm saying.
Clayton, what's your take on the scuffle with Max Crosby and Big Red himself, the Big Red Machine?
Man, you literally were like 1 second before I said Big Red Machine. Look, man. Look. Shout out to @ComicsNerdX about 8 hours ago. I retweeted Aaron Wilson when he first said feisty moment between Max Crosby and Keelan Rutledge and think of brief flare up. I said, man, it's on site for everyone with Keelan Rutledge, right? End quote. This person says he's getting at least 5 unsportsmanlikes this season, right? Keelan Rutledge, man. It's like y'all said about CJ, right? Like when you said that you don't want your quarterback to be gun shy, right? You don't want him with the mentality of like, don't lose the game, because then you got, no disrespect, but like Davis Mills, you have lower tier quarterbacks. So anyway, with Keelan Rutledge, I don't want to tell him to lose his fire. I don't. The fact that this man has fought everybody, every single person, even the ball boy probably, like he's fought everybody. Like you said, Aziz, Will, guys who don't even scrap with anybody. Daniil Hunter, like he got under his skin. Like it's, man, if you do that to your teammates, I can only imagine what you're going to do with the other team, right? So I could see a little bit of Brian Cushing in him. Well, like I could see him headbutting a dude with no helmet and just no problem, just whatever, right? And yeah, man, absolutely. I just think that people have to understand the transformation that's happened. We went from having Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard and kind of just the culture that we had at O-line where it really wasn't physical. No one looked at the Texans O-line like, man, they're a bunch of bullies. Like, I don't want to see them like for 60 minutes, they're going to grind you out. That was not the reputation. Now you got Wyatt Teller, you got Ed Ingram, you got either Braden Smith or Trent Brown, one of those two. You got Keelan Rutledge in the middle, Arianta Airstreet, just a bunch of big burly dudes, like you said, that want to grind you into powder for 60 minutes. This team is built to be physical and run the football. That's the mentality. That's how they built this thing. And I'm just so glad that Nick Caserio like really invested in not just the players, right, but like the scheme, the idea. Like they finally took the swarm that existed with the defense and said, "Here, offense, you be swarmy now too," right? And we got a little bit of that. And last thing, I think the swarminess even went back to CJ. Because I think D'Amico today in the post practice, he said that CJ was barking at some other players, right? And like I just think back to, if you remember, when he got in Alex Singleton's face, Denver Bronco in 2023, ain't never seen that dude since. And to hear D'Amico Ryan say like CJ Stroud is getting in there, he's barking, he's standing up, all this stuff. I'm like, okay, here we go. Yeah, here we go.
I'm glad you brought, because that's what I'm getting. That's where I was getting at. Like that rookie year, you had offensive linemen that had CJ Stroud back. When CJ was in Singleton's face, who was coming up to help CJ? His offensive lineman. And in the last 2 years, you haven't had that. Laramie Tunsil wasn't doing that. The guy who went to Cleveland, I can't think of his name.
Titus
Howard. He wasn't doing that. They weren't. Kenyon Green definitely wasn't doing that. Now you got CJ sees Butler saying, "Oh man, you pick it up on Will Anderson." Like you said, if you're doing that to your own teammate, what are you going to do that to the guy that we're playing on Sunday? So now he's getting that confidence back. Like, okay, they got my back, and I think that's what. That's one thing you need, right? You need to have somebody. We said that against the Patriots game. Yeah, the weather hindered him. He made the mistakes. But that goes on the team, because they didn't say, "Hey, lift your head up. We're still in this." They let him sit pout on the sidelines. Now
somebody should have been over there.
Exactly. Now you got guys offensive lineman and say, "Hey, I got you. Let's ride. Let's swarm. Let's get it." You know what I'm saying? So I agree. I think the CJ's back.
Uh, let's talk about some concerns. Is there any concerns moving forward? I would throw out a concern that I have. I'm concerned about wide receiver depth.
Especially with Higgins going down.
With Higgins going down, let's hope he's not down for long.
No, so
But
banged up and
man, we
Tank
ain't seen
Dell.
nothing out of Jalen Noel.
He's been hurt. He hasn't been playing.
That concerns me.
Tank Dell hasn't been out there. So yeah, depth. Look, the Colts he went out and got Keenan Allen. Yeah, he's 90 years old, but I wouldn't mind the Texans getting somebody like that, like getting a veteran depth piece. Clayton, what's your take on? What's your concern?
I mean,
Depth
you
at
pretty much
receiver.
said it, man. But besides the offensive line, the receiving core, I feel like they have yet to have a single season where they've had their full complement of skill position players. Like it is ridiculous. Like they went from having an abundance of players to now like Higgins is out, Knowles gone, Tank on his own plan, whatever that means. And Nico Collins, like he hasn't played a full season. So hey, but Xavier Hutchinson's here. So no, man, listen, I am concerned. And I did see Keenan Allen late last night, around 11 signed with the Colts. By the way, we gave Keenan Allen his worst game of the season last year. Just putting it out there. Held him to one catch for 17 yards in week 17. Just saying, right? Anyway, but yeah, man. Look, the best ability is availability, and that's been the kind of the theme of this offseason is getting guys who are healthy, who can be here. And unfortunately, your injuries now. We don't have any season enders, right? Would praise God for that, right? No season enders. But still, I said it a month or so ago, and I was questioning, like, why are you being so negative? Because I have eyeballs, right? Because I see the season we've had the last 2 years. Keep in mind, I believe if we would have had Tank and Joe Mixon last year, we go to the Super Bowl and heck, probably win it, right? Like, again, going back to May, we've lost EJ Speed, Jake Hansen, British Brooks. You got Jaden Higgins now. You got Jalen Noel. You got Tank Dell. That's 6 dudes right there, right? Like, no, not a lot of season enders, EJ Speed, yes, but it's just a lot of dudes getting hurt like at the worst time when you're trying to finalize a roster, right? So that's the issue. So it remains to be seen, but I'm definitely concerned. Besides the O-line, like injuries and skill position players, like we have to have a season where we have at least enough dudes to fight with. If not, we're going to be in the same place all over again. But I think they have the urgency this year. I don't think Nick Caserio is going to let 2026 go by, and this trade deadline is going to be something where he just sits to the sidelines. If he needs to go get a guy, I believe this the season to do it. But you would just hope that your guys are available to where you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what happened in the playoffs. We get to the playoffs, and Nico Collins goes down in that first quarter, and we didn't have the horses at that point. I don't want that to be the case this year, and we do need to see more out of. This is what I'm fearful of is I don't think we saw enough out of Jalen Noel to figure out what he is. And him missing camp right now it is not good for the team.
No.
I don't know what's going on, how long this injury is going to keep him out. But we need to see him back in camp. We need to get him back on the field quick.
Yeah, my concern too is as we give them props and praise. My concern is the front office and coaching. I'm tired of this whole let's keep everything hush hush and not let's tell what's going on. We've seen it with Christian Harris. We've seen it with Joe Mixon. Tell us what's going on with these guys. They wouldn't really give us the depth of Jaden Higgins. Yeah, I'll say because it was press, but Jalen Noel, oh, it's this, is that. They're not really giving us like he'll be here week one. He'll be here next week. Like, quit with the secretive. I get you're trying to,
Well, I don't think that they necessarily owe us fans something, but my question would be: do they know?
exactly.
Do they know? Are they
It seems like they hire here.
are they knowing what the actual injury is and how bad are they sitting back hoping that this guy is going to come back, and he's not going to come back. He's not going to make it.
It seems like they hired the Houston Astros training staff.
Houston Astros.
Yeah, it's just like, what are we doing here? So that's just my concern on that. I mean, regardless, you're going to get injuries, right? I mean, that's just the game of football. No team's perfect when it comes to injuries. Everybody gets banged up. It's a violent sport. But other than receivers, another one that kind of concerns me when it comes to health wise, we got two of them that's banged up. It's cornerbacks. Look, if we lose Kamari Lasser and Derek Stingley, we're kind of out there in no man's land. Like, we got some young pieces, but not. We did bring in Brees Hall from the Buccaneers. I'm sorry, Bryce Hall from the Buccaneers. So it kind of give you a little bit to move around, but that still got to be concerned, right? Like, am I the only one thinking that, or is that a legit concern? Clayton?
You're asking about other concerns?
No, concerns at cornerback with the health wise.
Sure. I mean, well, of course, yeah. When you got like the best 1-2 cornerback group in football, absolutely, yeah. I don't want anything to happen. Heck, I was kind of nervous when I saw the clip of Kalen Bullock hit a PBU on Brock Bowers, I think that was. And I was so nervous for his injuries. I'm glad he landed on his butt. Like, I didn't want him to land on like awkwardly on like a knee or a foot and like compress something. I don't want that. So I'd rather you just fall flat, just take it, move on. But yeah, man, no, I don't want them hurt. Now, as far as like, do we have the depth behind them? No, because again, you're going from really two dudes who could be an all-pro. One guy who's a two-time all-pro, another guy who could push for an all-pro or Pro Bowler already. So there's that. And then you have Elijah Huzzy, you have Kamari Ramsey, you have Colin Wright when he's back from soft tissue. Like, the drop-off is going to be big regardless. But I will say that I think Nick Caserio and like Dino Vazzo, D'Amico, of course, Matt Burke, I think that they've done a good job of developing that secondary to where they could probably withstand maybe a game or two, something like that. Maybe a quarter of a season, perhaps, if they needed to. But anytime you lose a two-time All-Pro who's, arguably QB, CB1 or CB2 behind only Patrick Surtain, the drop-off is going to be big. So, I haven't thought about that. I don't want to think about it, but I will at least say that I believe the strength of the secondary would better allow you to endure some nicks and bruises there than at any other position. Because I do believe that's the deepest position you have on the team is in the secondary.
We also know that there'll be some cuts, maybe in the league, in which they need to scour some of those, and let's bring in some veterans. And I do think wide receiver should be an area in which there's.
I say go get Tyreek Hill. I mean, you bring in an option.
After hearing him say that he had no strength in his leg, I don't think that's going to happen.
But also, I'm kind of just real quick going back to the cornerback talk. You kind of don't need extremely talent when the quarterback only has a second to throw the ball. When you have the two best defensive linemen coming at you to attack the quarterback, so that's always a bright spot. Right?
Has anybody heard anything about what's the guy that we brought in from the Eagles? The safety.
Oh, Reed Blankenship?
Yeah, I haven't heard much about him in camp.
They say he's having I mean, nothing outrageous, but they say he's having a decent camp, right? Or
I mean, he got an interception off CJ. I mean, he did. Like, he's been there.
Yeah,
I think like the thing is with.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to interrupt. I was just going to say, like, the value of a Reed Blankenship is more found in like how he affects the players around him. So specifically, Kalen Bullock. Like, Kalen Bullock, he finally has his best safety teammate since he's been drafted here, because we remember we tried the CJ Gardner-Johnson thing, and that lasted 3 games. Jimmy Ward, I don't have to say any more than that. Jimmy Ward just stopped showing up to work, had off the field stuff. So this is the best safety mate he's had, which will allow Kalen Bullock to probably be his most lethal self. And we've seen that in camp. So with Reed, his value is more of he's solid. He's not going to over pursue. He knows what to do. He's already won a Super Bowl. He comes from a good culture, good infrastructure, good defense. So he knows what good defense looks like. And he's kind of, he's not the grizzled vet that's like on the way out and he's just kind of teach the young guys. Like, no, he's young and he can play still, but he has experience enough over Kalen where he can teach him while being effective, whilst also allowing Kalen to be his best self. So Reed in camp has gotten an interception, but really it's more so he's allowed Kalen Bullock to just be a missile from the secondary to where now Kalen is not just an eraser in the deep third. Like Kalen is near the line of scrimmage. He's PBU in the intermediate. Like he's all over the place because he can trust his guy. So that's what I'm looking at with value of Reed Blankenship. It's less about just him and more about he impacts other people to where they can be their best selves, which is even scarier for the NFL.
And that's what I was going to piggyback off with. For what I've been hearing mostly from the players and coaching is his leadership. Like they said that he's like a Aziz Al-Shahir 2.0, right? Like he calls out where people need to be, holds them accountable. So it's just another leader that you need on the defense, especially if Aziz, knock on wood, if he goes down, he still has that voice out there, and that's what D'Amico's been harping all season about Reed Blankenship. So, but talking about Reed Blankenship and everybody, that the defense now, I do have one concern about this defense, and we've seen it last year against the Raiders and the Cardinals. Is they Brock Bowers tore him up today, and so that's a little concern in my book. But again, Brock Bowers is a generational talent when it comes to tight ends, right? So hopefully we can fix that. Clayton, you got anything on that end? Any on the defense?
Um, Man, you wish you could cover everybody, but you can't. I do remember Trey McBride being a grown man amongst boys. I do remember that.
Same thing with Brock Bowers, right? Like those two guys are generational
Yeah,
talent. I
that's what I'm
mean,
saying. They're top five tight end. So it's like I can understand like some dudes you just like Travis Kelsey, as old as he is, like he just knows how to get open. So it's certain dudes, I'm like, all right, man, whatever. So it's almost like your priorities flip from let's stop everybody to okay, let let him eat, but no one else is doing anything, right? So it's one of those things where of course, you just can't let Brock Bowers or Trey McBride beat you, right? But they're gonna eat. While they're eating, don't be so freaked out when they make plays inevitably that you leave other guys open because of blah blah blah. Let them do their thing, but you got to have confidence that yeah, but Trey McBride can't beat you by himself for 60 minutes. Like Brock Bowers can't beat you by himself for 60 minutes, right? So,
right.
and then also in training camp, I think wasn't like red zone situations where Bowers is kind of doing a lot of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, okay, I'm not taking away from him, but I mean, you're already at the red zone. I'm not gonna say it's like it's cupcake, but it's like even against the number one defense, I mean, when you need a single yard, I mean, we're guarding all these other things, and Brock Bowers just back there, like, okay, fine, like you, but this defense is gonna keep you away from the red zone to begin with. So that's what I want to see is like you're not gonna march us down the field and do that. But sure, okay, but yeah, to your question, I mean, am I concerned? Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, again, I just think this defense is developed enough to understand situationally, like, hey, one guy's gonna eat, that's fine, but you can't let everyone else beat you.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think sometimes it just comes down to matchups, and they just need to make sure. You don't want a. To be honest, I don't want a linebacker covering Brock Bowers. I'd rather safety covering Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, also to another play that he burnt us on was the 2 minute drill. But if you go back to the type of defense and coaching style of D'Amico Ryan's, that's where he goes conservative, right? His 2 minute drills. That was one of the biggest complaints last year. D'Amico Ryan's was he kind of on 2 minute drills. He kind of goes conservative, especially if we have the lead. So I can kind of see, they still have that mindset and kind of letting him get some of the big plays. So I'm not. I agree with that, and I agree with you. I mean, you got to put Kalen Bullock or Reed Blankenship on or maybe even Derek Stingley.
You can't. Again. I mean, we've seen Henry Toa get burned um, too many times by very skilled uh, wide receivers or running backs or anything like that. So it just got to make sure the matchup makes sense. But I'm not too concerned. Like I said, it's Brock Bowers. He's their option A, B, and C
Yeah.
when it comes to their offense. I didn't hear the running back that they were running the ball well, and they got a pretty good running back over there.
I did. They did have a big real route, and it was Henry Toa that gave it up. And but again, little plays like that, they're going to have. Like we're not going to be.
No, this defense is going to give up
Yeah.
something occasionally.
Yeah. So if the real route is okay, but what I've been hearing was they were getting at the quarterback. Uh, the front guys and the tackles were just eating up the holes, the gaps where they couldn't run the ball. And like you said, they've been Genty is a great running back, and they've been praising what's his name, Mark Washington Jr. from Arkansas. They've been praising him all camp. The Texans wanted him, and they completely shut him down. So that's positive because I was kind of if the Texans defense had a weakness last year, it was the running game. So that is kind of all right. We finally
Yeah, you got the big man in the middle now. Let's hope that he plays that. Let's hope that that you got big fatty there in the middle
mhm.
who should help stop the run. Um, and so that should be hopefully fixed.
Clayton, you got any takes on the defense?
Um, you mentioned it. You mentioned like the Raiders game, Ashton Jeanty. And then the other time I want to bring up the Denver Broncos. And was that either Hamler or Hampton? Who was that? That the same wheel route, like took Henry Toa deep and for the score. Um, yeah, I just think to y'all's point, this defense is loaded, but it still has very specific weaknesses that you must have the right offensive mind to even attack, which is why GT did that, which is why Sean Payton he did that kind of thing because they would know how to do that. They're smart, they know what to look for. And I just some things are hard to guard, period. The running back wheel route, the receiving running back, which is one of the biggest cheat codes in football right now, along with the elite tight end. And again, all you can do is just be disciplined, right? Like just know where the guy is. Like just don't lose track of dudes and they won't do that to you, right? It's easier said than done, but still. So that and not just that, but another one of the weaknesses of last year was mobile quarterbacks, right? And look, you can say any defense does not do well against mobile quarterbacks because mobile quarterbacks are still a unicorn in the NFL. I don't care how many years we've seen Lamar Jackson. There's just something about rushers from the quarterback position that the league has not figured out yet, right? So it's like if you're the Texans defense, it's just about being disciplined, right? Like I know when you go into man coverage, it's easier to run on that because all the defenders are back, but that's where swarm comes from. You swarm to the ball. You recognize an ID. The minute this guy breaks contain, like you're going after him, right? So again, I think this defense is smart. Yes, it will have its concerns, but it's the same concerns that the rest of the league has to figure out. The receiving running back and the mobile quarterback. If they can just minimize those things, then they should be okay.
Before we get to your season outlook, one thing I did want to bring up too. I forget. I don't know. I think it was Jason or you, Clayton, that said right tackle either Braden Smith or Trent Brown. Well, sounds like we might have to worry about Blake Fisher. He was the only guy that was handing Max Crosby today. The only guy that didn't get beat by Max Crosby was Blake Fisher. And from what I've been hearing, he's probably having the best camp as a tackle, right?
That'd
So
be amazing.
I mean,
yeah,
it's good news depth wise anyway. So Blake Fisher,
you just got to put the best talent out there, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't
Yep.
matter how much you're getting paid when you got picked. If you're the best talent, you need to be out there.
Yeah.
So if that's Blake Fisher, that'd be Blake Fisher, but just don't be doing no flea flickers without him with him out there. All right, we we don't need no turnovers for sure. All right, man. Our last segment, we kind of like to get a season outlook from our guest. Uh, Me and Jason went through the schedule and look when we do the podcast, we try to take our homerism out. Like we try to be non-biased as possible. But man, when we looked at the schedule, we're like, dude, it's hard not to say we can go 17-0. Like we were really like, all right, let's just go ahead and give this a loss. It's probably not going to happen, but we're going to give this a loss. Clayton, man, tell us what does the 2026 season of the Houston Texans look in your eyes?
Oh man, I'm not that bold, man. 17-0, that's a lot.
Well,
But you,
we went I think 13-4, right? It was our final prediction, but we're just saying it can go either way, right? Like
sure. I mean, look, man, if you really want to go there with homerism, I mean, the Texans should have been 13 or 14 wins last year if they closed a couple games against the Bucks. If CJ doesn't get hurt against Denver, so theoretically, you're talking about a team who should have been 14 wins. But anyway, I had them honestly at 14-3 when I first looked at the schedule, and now it's like, yeah, I'm pretty confident. 13 is a minimum. 14, I think, conservatively, if I'm trying to not be a homer. I do have them dropping, week 6 against the Jags in London. So I did give them that one. I think I gave them that annoying loss to Baltimore, 2, which is fine. And I also had them losing to Philadelphia on Christmas Eve because I just think the back end of the schedule is just so, brutal. You're going to drop 1 or 2 of those just by the schedule alone. Probably tired, the human element, back-to-back short weeks and late in the season. But yeah, even with that, I mean, 13, 14 wins, I think I got. And I know we're not on the hot takes yet, but that's kind of where I'm at, man. I think that is kind of conservative, 12, 13 wins, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think we said the ceiling is 15 wins. The realist is about 13 wins, and the floor is 12. I think anything.
And real quick, if I'm being honest, I think with this AFC, I think 13 wins can get them the 1 seed. I really do. I think if they do that because I need Denver to show me, I need New England to show me, I need the Cincinnati Bengals to show me. There are a lot of AFC teams that are doing. There's a lot of AFC teams doing this that are getting older, that have their moment and they've missed the mark. The only AFC team to do anything was the Chiefs. Outside of that, no one was able to take advantage of this, of one of the weakest AFCs we've seen probably in the last 10 years. I know Patriots fans don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Okay. So now if you're the Texans, right, if you do what we think you can do, that 1 seed should be almost a guarantee because everyone else is going to beat themselves up.
Well, I think we're going to learn a lot about that Patriots team. Look, they played a historically weak schedule last season. Now everybody is looking for them. Everybody's looking
and
for
got tape on them too
for the Patriots. So they may prove me wrong. I don't see them winning the 1 seed. I see them kind of falling back a little bit. The Broncos, their quarterback has not convinced me.
And they play the weak schedule as well.
Oh, by the way, my guys at FanSided, my publishers voted him as the #1 most overrated player, not quarterback, player in the NFL. But go ahead, just putting that out there.
I agree.
I
I agree. I could see that coming, and with that thought in mind, I think that this is the best opportunity for the Texans to get that #1 seed. And I think for us to get where we want to go, we got to have that #1 seed.
Yep.
Because we don't want to play in the snow in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I don't want it at all. I saw that. I'm a firm believer that they lost to the Patriots because of the weather, and I don't want to. I don't want that
against
again.
The Chiefs the year before. You say I mean, every game we lost.
You get home field advantage. I think that we can get to with this defense. I think we can get to where we want to
Look,
get.
and I have to agree with you guys. Like Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are getting another year older. Not so much Lamar, but Derrick Henry. Like, look, there's one guy that's undefeated of all time in every sport, in every aspect, and that's Father Time, right? And a running back that size, he's going to start having a downfall.
I keep looking for it. It hasn't happened yet.
I know, right? So we said the same thing about about Tom Brady, but Joe Burrow, offensive line still horrendous. Can he stay healthy? I know everybody.
Cincinnati's defense too was awful,
and
Terrible.
everybody's goo and gaga over the Jaguars. They had a weak schedule last year too. They lost their best defensive player. They lost the top 10 rusher. They didn't replace nobody. So I think that's a prove it year for the Jaguars.
It's gonna be a lot of coping coming out of Jacksonville, Florida this year. Just get ready. It's gonna be a lot of coping.
And that's what I'm saying. And look, I know everybody said, well, history can change. But history likes to repeat itself. And they had never won and never had a back-to-back winning season. Never. In the history of Jaguars franchise, ever had a playoff back-to-back season. So until you got to prove it. The Bills is another question mark. Can Josh Allen finally get a receiver to help him out? So again, the only thing that's consistent is the Texans because they got the defense. That's the only thing that's consistent
In the AFC.
in AFC is well, yeah, in NFL it's the Seahawks, but the AFC is the Texans. They got the number one defense, and in my opinion, you call me a homer, you call me what you want, but the number one defense got better. I mean, you got another safety, you got a big old fatty up the middle. People forget about was it Logan Hall from Tampa Bay?
Oh,
that's
yeah,
another big guy. That's a run stopper. We are improving this defense. So and we got Clowney as our third defensive end.
Well, you improved there.
I mean, come on now. So that's the only thing.
And again, I heard good stuff about Clowney again.
Yeah,
he's playing well.
Yeah. All right. I know you mentioned it before, but let's get it. Your hot takes. Kind of just throw your R's. Jason thought that Woody Marks is going to take over the number one rushing.
Yeah.
And what was your team hot take?
That we win number one.
Number one seed. Yeah. And then my hot take for players was Will Anderson is going to come out of the shadow of Myles Garrett and win Defensive Player of the Year. And I think we're going to have a top 5 offense and defense. I think we're finally going to move the ball, and we're finally going to be a complete team. So, Clayton, first, give me what is your hot take of the Texans as a team as a whole? What is your hot take for the Texans?
Sure. See, I don't even know if it's a hot take anymore. So many people have tried to hijack it. But look, man, I have the Texans not just winning 13, 14 games, but I do have them finally breaking that glass ceiling and making it to the conference championship game for the first time in franchise history. And I have them going to the Super Bowl. I do. I think they have they should 2 of the 3 things that you need to be successful: defense and ideally running the football. That is what they're committed to. That's what they're built to do. And the fact that they're letting you know that, like, that's what they're going to do. So, I just think, I don't even know if that's a hot take because so many people are starting to say it, like the national media, well, I got the Texans, all this stuff. So it's really not hot anymore. Okay, if I can cheat a bit on the team hot take, DeMeco Ryans is a part of the team. So I would say I got him winning coach of the year after you can argue he was kind of robbed in 23 when they gave it to Kevin Stefanski, right? I'm not saying he didn't deserve it in his own right, but DeMeco Ryans inherited a team who went 11-38-1 in the 3 years prior to him getting there. And they immediately go 10-7, beat the Colts and make it to the playoffs, and then drop 40 on the number one defense in Cleveland, right? So team accolade wise, besides the non-hot take, which is getting to the Super Bowl, I think DeMeco wins coach of the year. Matter of fact, let's call it a sweep. They're going to sweep the awards. Executive of the year, Nick Caserio. Coach of the year, DeMeco Ryans. Heck, Nick Haley, assistant coach of the year. They're you go. There you
I'll
go.
take.
We're gonna clean sweep just like that.
I think Matt Burke might take it before Nick Caley, but hey, I'll take it. Either one, right? All right. Now, what's your player?
I'm glad you asked. So this one got a lot of run. I put this on X, man. I have Xavier Hutchinson with another breakout season. I specifically said I could see 51 receptions, 570 plus receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, including 1 rushing touchdown. And I said that he could solidify himself as a wide receiver 3 moving forward, like permanently, or he will parlay this season into wide receiver 2 somewhere else and get like a nice little payday, right? A lot of people said, what, who's this guy? Look, Xavier Hutchinson has gotten better since Nick Caley has gotten here. He's had career highs already. I think you guys mentioned it earlier, but like if you go back to the Chargers game, Xavier Hutchinson could have blown that game wide open if Davis Mills had found him, like streaking across the field multiple times. Like could have taken like Xavier Hutchinson can low key kind of take over a game when you're bracketing Nico and you're kind of covering Jaden. X can be that third option to reopen up the passing game for everybody else. Or he can do a Will Fuller and just light you up for 250 and 3 touchdowns and call it a day, right? So I think the fact that he attached himself to CJ Stroud in the offseason and really trained with him, I feel like hearing him say that he was a part of why CJ struggled because he did drop that pass against New England, which led to an interception. Like, I think that tells me X not only has the experience and the coaching, he has the fire. Like, he has the desire to be that guy who finally breaks through for this team. So that's, I guess that one is one. I got a Kamara Ramsey pick 6 some point this season. I just think that's going to happen. I have Kalen Bullock breaking the team interceptions record of 7 by Marcus Coleman in 2003. How about that one? And I think all pro season is going to come. And I have lastly, I already said it, D'Amico Ryan's coach of the year. So there you go. So that is my slate of hot takes.
Look, I'll take it. I'll take that one in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. Like Xavier Hutchinson coming out of college, I thought getting him. What was it, 6th round? I was like, bro,
Yep.
That was
Another late rounder.
because the dude was the best receiver in the Big 12 for years, and his catch radius is crazy. Big guy, yeah. So I love to see it. Well, in the wise words of my boy Crenshaw, this is the worst part of the podcast because it's the end. Clayton, man, thank you for always coming on. Also, thank you for being a fellow man of the Lord. And in times like this, we always need somebody to show the light of the Lord. So we appreciate you doing that. Tell everybody where we can find you on social media, what you got cooking, so that way we can support you.
Sure. At Clay_HTX Sports. That is at Clay_HTX Sports on all platforms, Instagram, YouTube, X. It is down there on the ticker. That's right. Look, man, I write every day for Toro Times of the Fansided Network. Every single day, Texans content there. Find it about various things, training camp, roster predictions, all this stuff. What else am I working on? I guess you could say this was like a long shot, but I am working on a Cowboys week project. I'm working on getting like a slate of Cowboys analysts and speakers and just talking to them, right? Because I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a certified lover of when the Cowboys fall on their face, right? So I even have a Cowboys cup that has cowboy tears on it. So I'm relishing the opportunity to make something of this, which should be an every year kind of thing, but this once every 2 to 4 year Texans Cowboys matchup. So anyway, I'm working on that, man. But outside of that, just daily content on X. I'll be around.
You know what they said is the best thing about Dallas, right?
What is it?
I-45 South leading to Houston.
Oh.
That's the only thing that's good about Dallas. Everything else.
Well, man, look, bro. I just think at this point, man. I'm big on this, right? It's the same thing I say about the Yankees, about the Dodgers. I don't have any animosity towards like the actual team. Like I respect what they should have been able to do. It's the idea of the Cowboys. It's this thing of they're America's team and they're supposed to be this. And it's been 30 years. I'm 33. Like the last time they done anything of significance, I was 3 years old. Right.
I think it's funny that every year they're going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, every year is the year. Every year.
Yeah. and then 4 TVs get broken, jerseys get burned. Like,
Yep.
it's
Mhm.
well, man, we're going to definitely have to do this again. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Jason, tell us where we can find you on social
You
media,
can
what
find
you
me
got
on-
cooking.
You can find me at Texans1910 on Instagram.
I'm trust me, I'm gonna get him on X so that way people can start hating his content too, not just mine. You can find me at A1 Day One Texans everywhere, where I drop some people have been ranting, raving, hating on my rankings of skill position players. So I'll take it. But you can find the podcast everywhere, Texas Fan Battle. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe. Also, do the same thing for We Want Houston. Clayton's pushing out great content. But Thursday,
Let's do it.
another day of football means we're 2 weeks away from the season starting. Like we're almost there, fellas. Like we're like a fat kid when cake come around the corner. We're ready, right? We got our forks and spoons out. Like let's dig in. But till next time, stay blessed, stay safe. We'll see you next time. And as always, you gotta go Texans.
I'ma calm down.